Hello, my beautiful children. How are you? I hope that you are fine. I miss you a lot. I do. But let's start working. Today we are going to review social studies. Okay? So please look for your social studies book and your contract, please. Okay? Are you ready? Let's start. Okay. Open the book on page 152. We have section 2, history, trade across continents. As you can see, here I did a short review about the information that you have on your book. So we are going to read it. It says, European exploration of the Americas led to new trade routes among the world's continents. Shortly after Columbus landed in the Caribbean in 1942, the Spanish began to make use of the region's rich resources. This was the first step toward global trade. Spanish settlers exploited the labor of the native people for the heavy work on their farms. The native people were weakened by sickness. They weren't able to fight the smallpox and the malaria. A large number of native people died from these diseases. It was very, very sad. Spanish settlers had to look elsewhere for the workers they needed to farm their crops. And guess what? Yes, we already talked about this. They started to send goods that were manufactured in Spain to Africa to pay for slaves. So that was the beginning of more than 300 years of slavery in the Americas. Triangular trade. It's the trade among 3 continents. The 3 continents are the Americas, Europe, and Africa. Why the Americas? It's included, obviously, South America and Central America, okay? It brought a competition among European countries for the resources of the region. Spain won great wealth from the settlements. Portugal, France, and Britain began competing with Spain. Okay, now this was a very, very short review, but we have like the main idea. Let's continue. Here, you have this exercise that it's on your contract, okay? Go to the contract. We are working on the exercises of week number 3. And we are going to answer this together. You have already answered this, right? You were supposed to be working on this. But, give me a second. Okay. Here we are going to work. It says, this week, we will concentrate on the European exploration and trading routes among the continents. And we have number 1, this led the global trade. What was it? It was the European exploration of the Americas. Okay. Then, number 2, crops for profit. That was easy. Cash crops. I'm sorry, as you can see, my computer is capitalizing all the words, but you know that you don't have to capitalize the words that are not proper nouns, okay? The next one, shortage of resources. It's scarcity. Next, to take advantage of something, like the slaves. They were exploiting the people, okay? So it's exploitation. exploited. The next one, trade among three continents. That's easy. Okay, that is the triangular trade. And you already know the continents we are talking about. Continents involved in the triangular trade. It was the Americas, Europe, and Africa. Right? The next one. This brought competition among European countries for resources. It was the triangular trade. These were exchanged among continents. There were plants, animals, and very sadly, but yes, diseases. Like the smallpox, the malaria, okay? Then, he invented the phrase Columbian exchange. That was on page 154, I think, or 55. But it was Alfred Crosby. And the last one, he kept a journal of his arrival to the Caribbean in 1492. Who was it? Yes, Christopher. We are going to write Columbus. Okay, so these are the answers of the first exercise on the contract. Okay, then we are going to continue. Okay, I'm going to save this. I'm sorry, I'm going to move this a little bit. Okay, now you can see. It says the Columbian exchange. Here I put a map. You have one on the book. This is not exactly the same, but it's a similar one. Okay, it says the triangular trade between Europe, the Americas, and Africa brought about the exchange of plants, animals, and even diseases. That was one of the questions that we already answered, right, in that chart. Then, it has become known as the Columbian Exchange, named for Christopher Columbus. Okay, that's important. Remember about this. And you can see here on the map all the products or the goods that were traded from the different continents. Okay, and here notice you have the diseases. You have on your book, I think they mentioned for smallpox, influenza, malaria. No, and here is missing. Ah, no, here you have it, measles. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. Here is the exercise B that it's on your contract. Let's continue answering this. It says, answer the questions. In what ways did the European exploration lead to new trade routes? I think that here you have some spelling mistakes or grammar mistakes. So please, if you have a mistake on this verb, change it, okay? Well, what was the thing that happened with this new exploration? Okay, after Columbus landed in the Caribbean, the Spanish began to make use of the region's rich resources. Their actions were the first step toward global trade. Do you remember that part? You already read about it. Number 2, what effect did the triangular trade have on Europeans, native groups, and Africans? Okay, in Europe, the countries started to compete for control over trade. Native groups were weakened by sickness, and Africans were enslaved. That was very, very sad. Do you remember that a very huge percentage of natives died because of these diseases? They didn't have like the strength on their body to defeat these diseases. Number 3, what role did native groups play in the Caribbean economy? The Spanish settlers exploited the labor of the native people for the heavy work on their farms. Number 4, what diseases were brought to the continents? I told you, I remember these 4. They were smallpox, measles, influenza, and malaria. Okay? And number 5, name the crops taken to Europe. Some of them were tobacco, sweet potatoes, these are the potatoes, corn, peanuts, peppers. Here you have the peppers. I think I can move this a little bit. These are the peppers, okay? Beans and squash, okay? So that would be the answers on your contract. I hope that you got all the answers correct. I think it was easy. This part was easy. If you have any question, please write on the comments. In the comments, you can write whatever you want to. And I am going to ask a question today, and you have to write the answer. Okay? So the question is going to be, okay, this is the question. Please write the answer in the comments, okay? The question is, which crop was very important for the Caribbean farmers to sell to Europe? Which crop? You will find the answer on your book, so please read, check again, and write the answer in the comments. And that is all for today. Have a nice day. Help your parents with the household chores, okay? Kisses for you. Bye.